Hello and welcome back for some more freshly brewed drag tea here at Drag Tea Served. Today I have a very special guest who appeared on the Season 12 Superfans Makeover Challenge where she was paired with Jackie Cox. On the show we fell in love with her small but mighty presence and she served us a fierce dancing disco diva realness on the runway. We'll be discussing everything Drag Race, her time on the show, spilling some backstage tea, and I'll of course be asking all of the amazing questions you all sent in. So please join me in welcoming Tiffany Dela Cruz, aka Lil Snackie Cox.
Hi!
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being on my channel. I know everyone was very excited to speak to you and hear about obviously behind the scenes, and we all loved you on the show. You were so fun and you definitely looked like you were living your best life on the show.
Thank you. Oh, it was the best time. Yeah, I got my life, definitely.
It looked like a really, really fun experience, and I'm sure we were all very jealous that you got to be on it as super fans ourselves.
I was jealous of myself. I was like, I wish I had better time to prepare for this.
Yeah, I can imagine it. I guess it probably all happens quite quickly. So how did it happen? If you can sort of talk us through, how did you get involved with the show?
Yeah, so I think the Drag Race Instagram page had posted some kind of interactive fan experience. And they were like, yeah, submit a video why you're a super fan. And I didn't for like weeks after the post happened. I was like, okay, well, let's see. And we didn't know what it was. It just said interactive experience. And I'm in Las Vegas, and I actually was in Los Angeles. And they called me and were like, okay, well, can you come out for this interactive experience? So we do, and all the girls were kind of there, and we still didn't really know what was going on. And then eventually we were on set, and they were like, you're part of the makeover challenge, and we were so excited, not a sound came out of us.
I can imagine it must be so exciting, and kind of because the way we saw it on camera was that they told you that you were just going to be in the audience for some kind of performance, and then obviously you get brought in and realize it's for the makeover. Is that what actually happened, or did you guess what was happening?
I had no idea. I was like, I guess we're going to be in the audience. I think at that time, Ru had like a Netflix show going on or something like that. So I was like, well, maybe we'll be in the audience for that. Maybe something for DragCon that year. But I had no idea that it was going to be all this.
Well, it's really fun that you got to sort of, it exceeded your expectations in that sense.
Definitely.
And so how did you actually start watching the show? What was your background? What season did you start watching?
Season 1, episode 1. It was from the start. Yeah. I think I was like 10 or 11 when it came out.
And so was it something that was drag something you'd been interested before, or was it more the show that introduced you to drag?
No, I think it was the show that introduced me to drag, because I don't even remember when I realized it was drag. I just loved the personalities and the challenges and the fashion. And then I think as I grew up, I was like, oh, this is drag.
I think the show has made drag more mainstream and kind of introduced what was already an art form to just more people and brought it into people's homes more. And I think that's the magic of the show.
Absolutely.
So obviously you come in, you walk in, and you realize that you're doing a makeover. What was the first thing that went through your mind when you really realized this was actually happening and you were going to be made over?
I think I was like, what did I just get myself into? Like, I am so happy, but okay, we're going to do this.
Yeah. And obviously you get paired with Jackie. What was the kind of the connection? Did you feel a connection straight away? And what were your kind of first impressions when you actually got to speak to Jackie?
Yeah, right away, I think most of the girls had a connection with their queen. I don't know how Jada just magically knew the personalities were going to match up, because Jackie is a big nerd, a theater geek, all that. And that is exactly who I am. So straight away, I was like, I love this human.
Yeah, Jackie was amazing, and I think you two together just seemed really, really in sync. And you both I think the reason why people warmed to you so much was because you just seemed like totally up for it. Like you were going to do whatever it takes.
Yes. Especially from watching previous makeover challenges and seasons, and so many of the makeovers are like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. I'm like, no, let's do it all.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the way you've got to be when you're on a show like that, especially as a super fan. You know roughly what it's going to be like because you've seen it before. It must just be so exciting to be part of it. And so what was it like actually being in the workroom and seeing all the cameras and sort of being behind the scenes, so to speak, that you wouldn't normally get to see?
It was just crazy after seeing something. Like, you feel like you're in the workroom watching it for so long, and then you kind of have to like pinch yourself like, no, I'm really here. And feeling the tables and the workrooms like I'm in this moment. It was incredible.
Yeah, I could imagine that. It must just be so surreal and weird and whatever. And then obviously RuPaul, I guess you get to speak to him. What was that like actually meeting RuPaul in person?
It was surreal and like really nerve-wracking, especially when he came around to the tables. I was like, I just want him to like me because I know that this is also Jackie's challenge, so I really need him to like me.
And because I'm not sure on the show whether they actually showed your walkthrough. I can't remember if they didn't show every single person's. I can't 100% remember. I'll have to double check. But speaking of that, was there anything that happened in the workroom that was cut out that you sort of wish they had put in?
I don't think so. I think all my favorite parts were there. I think Ru did come around and show, and I think my walkthrough was shown because I remember her just loving the name Lil Snackie, and Jackie came up with that completely on her own, and Ru just fell in love with it. So,
have you guys come up with a name?
Yes.
What is your drag name?
Lil Snackie Cox.
Am I wrong?
Oh, that's good.
And so when you then, obviously, Jackie, I'm assuming, has told you what type, it was going to be kind of a sort of disco, mother and daughter going to the disco, or sorry, sisters going to the disco. Mm-hmm. And when you saw the outfits, what was kind of your thoughts? Was that the kind of what you were expecting from the makeover, or?
When I first saw the outfits, I thought, I wish I could have gone to the gym for this. And then I was like, I just love it because it was red. I love red. And it was sparkly. And there were gold accents. I loved our outfit. And the shoes were super comfortable.
Yeah, because of all the people, you definitely seemed the most at ease. And like you were just serving it. You were walking in the heels. Like you didn't really seem to... You always came across as being very confident. And you had that kind of like diva attitude of like, not in a bad way, but just in like a confident, like, I'm owning this. Was that really how you were feeling, or were you kind of putting on that persona because you knew that was what you had to do?
I am confident in heels for sure. I walk in heels all the time. So that wasn't the issue. I was just very nervous being on the main stage and knowing that you got to walk this walk.
Yeah. And so when obviously you find out that you've got to lip sync, not only do the challenge, but do a lip sync, what went through your mind when you heard that?
I was super scared because we weren't sure exactly like what it entailed, if like it actually mattered to the challenge. And again, I was thinking, I don't want to do bad for Jackie. So I was like, we have to learn every word and lip sync for our life.
Yeah, and your lip sync was so good, and you pulled out some actual tricks. You were like doing the splits, and like you were doing like a full lip sync. I was so impressed that you were doing that. Do you have any kind of like dance background or anything like that?
No, my sister and I used to do pageants when we were little, but I think it's just watching Drag Race. You're like, okay, if that were me, how am I gonna do this?
Yeah, so I guess you had how long did you have to prepare for the lip sync? Was it 1 day or 2 days?
I think like a day and a half, right. Not like a full 2 days. Mm-hmm.
And what was your thoughts? Did you think that it was going to actually matter? Like you were going to potentially, your performance was going to impact where Jackie would place?
Yeah, I wasn't sure because there's so many twists in Drag Race. that I was like, well, if it does, I'm going to put everything out there. Like I was competing myself.
Yeah. And so when you sort of were walking the runway for the first time, what did it feel like? Because I assume you do it once with music and once without music, if that's what the usual way is. What were your actual feelings? Like, what was going through your mind?
I think I just felt like I was shaking. Like, don't look like Bambi walking. Like, just be calm. Just walk. You're fine. But I was so nervous. I remember shaking.
Yeah, you didn't seem nervous, but I think you always came across as to me being very quietly confident. Like you could tell you were confident, but you weren't necessarily shouting it from the rooftops. And I think that's why people really like you and took a shine to you, because you had this kind of, like, I got this attitude, but you didn't necessarily have to sort of shout it out.
I love that, because I'm definitely not confident in like the day-to-day. So I'm so happy it came up as confident.
To me, it did. I think you definitely came across as being quietly confident, which is good, because I think obviously everyone has different strengths, and everyone in the challenge, some people were outwardly nervous and some people weren't. And I think you definitely fell into kind of in the middle ground of not looking scared, but still being confident. And I loved that.
Oh, thank you.
And what did it feel like then being in drag for the first time, like having all the makeup and the outfit and the heels? Had you done anything like that before?
No, I mean, I was used to makeup, but I had not put on like a real drag queen wig. And now I just want to be in wigs all the time. And I like, after the show, I bought more like really big drag wigs. I was like, this is what I want to do.
Wow. So did it unleash your inner drag queen?
Yes, definitely.
Have you done drag at all since the show?
I've tried to find the look. I haven't really done any shows locally, but I would love to.
So what type of drag queen do you think you would be? Do you think you would be a kind of pageant queen, or do you think you would be a comedy queen, or like kind of where do you think you would, what drag queen on the show would you compare yourself to?
Yeah, I think it'd be a mix of like if Jackie and Bianca Del Rio had a baby, that would be me.
That is a great
just
baby.
Just a lot shorter. That's me.
Well, I guess the name Lil Snackie Cox really lives up to the name then, Little.
Yeah, I'm only 5 feet tall.
Wow. And in the heels as well, I guess, because Jackie, yeah, there was definitely, the name made sense, because even in heels, you looked very small compared to Jackie.
Yeah.
But it was sweet. It was so funny. Like, you two just looked like you were having absolute blast. I loved watching you two. Is that how it was in reality for you, or were you kind of completely shaking in your boots?
I was shaking in my boots, but I was telling myself, just enjoy it, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. So just don't get in your head too much about it. Just enjoy it. And
obviously then... unfortunately, you and Jackie and also Heidi and her partner fell into the bottom that week. Was that something you were expecting, or did you think that potentially you were going to be in the top or safe? I thought we were going to be safe. I wasn't expecting it, but then looking back, I was like, they don't like disco on the Makeover challenge. As a super fan, I should have remembered that. But I really thought we were going to be safe. So was it a surprise when it happened, or once you had the judges' critiques, did you kind of guess that was going to be the case? Once the judges' critiques happened, then I was like, okay, so we might be safe, but I think we're in the bottom. Even though I loved my look and I loved the moment in the workroom, once the critiques came out, I was like, girl... Yeah, I think it was unfortunate. I think I guess there always has to be a bottom too, but I think many people in the comments, when I asked people to send questions for you, several people said that you two shouldn't have been in the bottom because they really liked you. I think it just came down to maybe the outfits looked slightly simple compared to some of the other ones, but obviously that's nothing you could kind of prepare for. That's just what happens. And it was such an amazing cast that, yes, I mean, there does have to be a bottom too, so it was still like the bottom of the best, so. And then what did it feel like watching Jackie lip sync? Because I assume obviously you were watching it in Untucked. How did that feel actually watching a lip sync in real life from the studio?
Oh my God, it was so intense. I still felt like I wish we were watching it in person so that we could like throw money at it. It was just so much fun to watch, even though we know like someone might be going home, but I'm still enjoying watching this lip sync.
And so obviously at the end of the lip sync, you find out that no one's going home that week. And I think that was definitely, I liked that decision because it felt so sweet and genuine and for the episode. How did you feel about it?
Oh my gosh. I was like, this is completely deserving. I was like, everyone did so well in my opinion. So I'm just so happy and relieved.
Yeah, definitely. It was a lovely episode because no one went home. Everyone looked like they were having fun. It was so sweet and so just a really heartwarming episode.
That really was how it was.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Was that your lived experience, or was it different to how you thought it was? The portrayal of it, the edit, was that different?
No, everyone had a great time. Like the makeover girls and then the queens themselves, and all the queens with each other and us. Like it was just so much love in that room and just a break. And I felt like when we met this group, I was like, there isn't the villain of the season in here. There's just so much love.
Definitely. There was no villain everyone was just really nice. The whole cast seemed nice and all of the superfans also seemed really nice. Did you make friends with any of the other superfans or have you stayed in touch with any of them?
We've all stayed in touch.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And do you all live in the same kind of area or?
I think most of them lived in California and I was the only one in Vegas, but it's not that far of a drive. So I'd go out and I'd visit. So we'd all send each other gifts for the holidays.
That's really sweet. And it's nice that you kind of not only had a nice experience, but you had made friends from it as well.
Yes, especially because after we had recorded it, we couldn't talk to anyone about it. So then we're like, well, we'll just have this group of us who know what each other are feeling and we can talk about it.
And so how long was it between when you filmed it and when it came out on television?
I think a full year.
And what did it feel like kind of keeping that a secret for a year?
Oh my gosh. It was hard to keep the secret, but I love surprises. So it was nice to just have a little surprise waiting for like my friends and family.
And what did your friends and family think about it? Like, did you tell them you were going to be on it at all, and what were their reaction to it?
I remember my really close friend who was my boss at the time. He knows how much I love drag queens and drag race. And when it finally came out, I was like, I told you one day I'd get on. And he was like, how did you do that? Like, I was like, well.
They obviously just wanted you. I mean, obviously they liked what they saw.
I was going to get on one way or another, and it ended up on the Makeover Challenge.
It was definitely one of my favorite episodes because it was just so joyous and sort of everyone got the kind of nice hero edit, so to speak. You know what I mean? There was no villain. Everyone just seemed nice and it was all happy and no one went home. So that definitely helps.
Yes. And it was nice because that truly how everyone was so kind and helpful to each other.
And so, speaking of the actual show, obviously the name of my channel is Drag Tea Served. So I was wondering if you could serve us some drag tea. And is there anything that happened off camera or even on camera that they didn't show that you wish they had?
I don't remember if they showed this moment. I felt like I was the shady one in the room after everyone was being so nice. They had asked what's our favorite drag race moment. And in the moment I had said that challenge with Latrice when she was going back and forth with Fifi. And she was like, I realized she was ugly and I'm at peace with that.
About 5 minutes ago, I looked across at Miss O'Hara and realized that she was ugly.
Ooh.
And I'm at peace with that.
And everyone else had like a nice heartwarming moment. It was better moments or lip syncs. And I was like, no, that was my favorite.
I mean, I don't think that's shady. I think that was just a funny moment. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily shady, but I think that's funny.
Oh yeah, I say I'm at peace with that all the time just because of that.
It's a great line, and it was, you could tell it was just, I cracked up watching it, and I think the people, even RuPaul cracked up say it, like when he said it. So
it was hilarious. I'm like, is that shady? I don't know. Am I the drama? I don't know.
I don't think I'm the drama.
I don't think I'm the drama.
Is it me? Am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama. Maybe I am. Am I the villain? I don't think I'm the villain.
And what was it like in terms of being, obviously, you were a fan of the show, so what did it feel like then being on the show? And because I assume you get to sort of peek behind the curtain, so to speak. Did anything happen in terms of the edit or production that made you change your perspective of the show?
No, I don't think so. I think the workroom was bigger than I expected. A lot more pink. But everything just felt so real. I was like, this is the set, and I'm here.
Because when I spoke to one of the others, they said that when you first came into the workroom, the first time no one said anything, so you actually had to film it several times. And then so what we saw was actually like the third time that you had done it. Was there anything else similar to that happened where you kind of had to reshoot things or?
I think when I had done the splits moment, I had just done it for Jackie because she was asking like, what could I do during the lip sync or on the runway? And so I had done it. And I don't know why, for some reason, we were in a corner and then everyone else was doing their own thing. And they were like, wait, she's over there in the splits. So we had kind of had to do it again. And at first I was like, oh, I don't want to show everyone my split again. They're like, no.
It was funny because I guess it kind of set you apart from the others that you could do a split and maybe, set a little bit of fear in them about the lip sync.
Yeah, a little bit.
And in terms of the actual edit, when you watched the final show when it came out a year later, was there anything that you had kind of forgotten about the time on the show that it reminded you watching it?
I forgot how emotional I had gotten in that moment because I'm not an emotional person. So watching it back when I was crying on TV, I was like, oh my God, I'm crying and everyone's watching me cry in Untucked and all that.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things in the moment you can't process it, and it's not until afterwards that you realize what it was actually like, or maybe your genuine reaction comes out when you're that nervous or you're that in such an intense situation. I can see why the queens might break down on other seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially you watch some that cry all the time. I'm like, girl, stop crying. But now I'm like, wait, go ahead, let it out.
And did you, was there any moment between you and Jackie specifically that you wish they had shown, or something that you kind of have taken away from the experience that she said to you maybe?
I think she was just more like, own yourself. Because I know there's been challenges within myself about loving drag or, gender identities and things like that. She was like, if you're a nerd and wherever you're on the spectrum, just be patient with yourself. And that's what I took away from her. And she's just so amazing.
Yeah, that's a lovely thing to take away from that. And it's definitely an important message. And have you stayed in touch with Jackie at all?
Yes, definitely. And we just had DragCon about a month ago. And I got to see her every day of the show and see her panels. And I just wish I could go out to New York and see her perform over there more. But definitely stayed in touch.
And when you were at DragCon, what did that feel like in terms of was it your first DragCon, and did you get recognized?
It was my first DragCon, so super overwhelming. I will wear different shoes next time because there's a lot more walking than I thought. And I did get recognized, surprisingly. And I just didn't think that would happen.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's been a while because of COVID. Unfortunately, it's been a while since the season you were on aired. But I guess it was such an iconic moment in history, in Drag Race history, and it was such an iconic episode that I can see why people remembered.
I was so taken back by it, and then it was fun when a few of the other girls went and we all met up because we kept in contact, and then some people recognized like all of us together, and they're like, "You all are friends, and you're all here."
I guess it's like mind blowing to people to actually see like, oh, they're like from television and we've seen them.
But yeah, and then we went and stopped by. We tried to see all of the queens that were on that season, and it was amazing.
And if you could sort of sum up your experience on the show in, let's say, one word, what would you choose? What would that word be?
Magical.
Oh, that's a lovely word, and I think that definitely sums up how I, as a viewer, interpreted your experience on the show and everyone else.
Oh, I love that. I love that that's how everyone interpreted it. Like, makes me so happy to see that.
Yeah, were you in any way nervous because obviously you film the show, but you don't obviously get to see the edit until it comes out on TV. Were you in any way nervous that maybe it might be portrayed differently, or that something might have happened that you'd forgotten, or so, was there any kind of doubt in your mind as to how it would be portrayed?
Yeah, of course. And mostly because I know the fandom itself can be a little toxic sometimes. So I was like, I'm not sure how I'll come off, but that's okay because I enjoyed myself and I know how the queens were and how my friends were. So it's okay however it ends up being received.
Yeah, I definitely think it came across as being really positive. I don't think anyone came across as being negative at all. I think, and especially you, just seemed so sweet and nice and kind of fierce, like diva. Like that was, to me, that was who you were. Like everyone had different attributes that they had, and you definitely fulfilled that kind of diva, like really confident, and that's why I really liked you on the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
And speaking of people loving you, I have some subscriber questions I'd love to put to you.
Okay, let's do it.
So one of the questions was, what's your best memory of your time on Drag Race?
My best memory. So there was a part I don't think it was shown, was all of the queens and the girls kind of having like a walk-off moment. So we were just walking back and forth and enjoying our time, and that was so much fun. And I think the queens felt like they needed that break too. We were just messing around in the workroom, and that was, I think, my favorite part.
Yeah, I've heard that from a few other people as well, that was their favorite moment that didn't get shown. Why do you think that kind of moment doesn't get shown?
I'm not sure. I think maybe there's a certain amount of time they have to. There's other things that need to get shown. So I think just messing around is like, oh, we don't need to show that. But it means a lot to the queens, and it meant a lot to us.
Definitely. And was there anything you took with you from, as in like physically took with you from the show as a memento?
I have it's just a tiny little piece of fabric. I think I was holding it in the workroom, that little piece that has Cox on it. I took that home for sure.
Oh, that's lovely that you've got an actual reminder of your time on the show.
Yes. I'm like, this is proof that this happened in case I ever forget.
Definitely. And someone asked, were you happy with the results of your makeover despite landing in the bottom that episode? And if you could have had someone else do your makeover, would you have taken the chance?
No, I loved our look. I loved the whole look. I was like, look at my legs, the hair. I loved it all. I was definitely getting like my dream girls one night only moment. I loved it. I don't think I would have. I love the other queens, but I loved how my makeover was. Yeah,
I felt that way watching it. That I thought your outfits, although they were simple, they were clean. You looked great, like you specifically. Both of you looked great. But I think Jackie did a really good job of making it look like you were family, and you just looked like you were having so much fun, and like you were just living your best life.
Oh yeah, definitely. I thought the outfits were like just so cohesive. The shoes, the jewelry, everything was so planned out, even though it might not have ended up the way we wanted. I loved it.
And someone said, are you and Jackie friends, and do you call each other or hang out? And did Jackie teach you anything that you use in your daily life?
We can't really hang out because we're on opposite sides of the country. But anytime she's on this side, I go out and see her. Before the show had aired, Drag Race Live premiered in Las Vegas, and the queens were there during that. So I went and saw her. And then she had a show in Los Angeles for Disneyland, and I went and saw her. So anytime she's on this side, we will meet up. And if I ever get the opportunity to go over to New York, I will be there.
Yeah, I can imagine she must put on a great show. She was so like great on the show, and she was so funny, and like, you know, like the "for you" thing was so funny as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was like, that's another challenge that was ours, but like she's just so funny that she really is just that nerdy.
Yeah, she came across as being just like really fun and lovable.
Oh yeah.
And another question was, I'd love to know if there's a moment that between you or maybe the other queens that didn't get shown in the edit.
I remember Jada helping us out a little bit. I think there was just like red nail polish or a few other like red embellishments, and it was just really sweet for them to help each other out. And it was like no question of at all. There was no hesitation to help. They're like, yeah, have what you want.
Yeah, that's not. And Jada definitely seems that type of person. She seems really sweet, and obviously she's now on All Stars 7, and you know she's killing it.
Oh my God, I live for her.
She's great. I love her as well. Did you actually have much interaction with the other than Jackie? Did you actually get to speak to the others?
I feel like there wasn't too much interaction, but the interactions we did have was just so funny. And I enjoyed their company so much. And I wish I could see them more often as well.
Yeah, I guess it's difficult. You're on different sides of the country. It's such a big country. So it's sort of...
And then we had the pandemic in the middle of it.
Yes.
So that was rough.
Yeah, that sucks, especially for the queens, because they had to basically do the finale in their living room and kind of...
Yeah, I can't imagine having that challenge put on you. Already you're nervous to be in the finale, but now to do it on Zoom...
I can't imagine. I think what the three finalists managed to do was incredible, given that they were literally on Zoom. And then obviously what they've done since the show is amazing as well. I'm sure Jackie will be on an All Stars sometime soon, hopefully, because she was amazing.
Oh my gosh, I hope so. Not yet, but when she's finally on there again, I hope she gets to be in her own finale.
Great. Yeah, definitely. I loved Jackie. She was one of my favorites. Well, thank you so much for being on my channel. I really appreciate, obviously, you answering all the questions, and I'm sure people would love to hear more about you. If people do want to kind of follow you or whatever, where can people find you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, it's at Lil Snackie Cox.
Just like that. And you'll forever be Lil Snackie Cox. For you. Tiffany, thank you so much for being on my channel. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you pop up sometime soon in whatever form it is, as Lil Snackie Cox or as Tiffany, whatever. We don't care. We just love you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on. Bye.
Bye.